o'clock, so I'd like to call the meeting to order, but as you see, it's a slim, trim crowd up here today, so we are waiting to see if another board member arrives to determine whether or not we even have a quorum to go forward today. So we appreciate your patience and your forbearance. Very happy to see Mike Loyko. Okay, looks like we have a quorum. Wonderful news. Just a reminder to everyone about the microphones, and this goes for the folks who will be speaking as well. To access the microphone, there's a button on the desk. You want to press it once. The microphone will illuminate red. That shows you that it's operating. And then to turn it off, press it again once. It's a very sensitive system, and if you double tap it, it can freeze the whole system, and then we have to wait. And it looks like we have a busy day today. So let's open today's hearing of the Metropolitan Short-Term Rental Appeal Board. I'm Julie Ryan Caputo, and let's see who we have with us today. Terrence Bond is not with us. Phil Cabucci.
Present.
Ron Hogan is not with us today. Whitney Kimmerling is not with us today. Mr. Mike Loyko, happy to see you, and Councilman Sean Parker.
Present.
Great. Before we get started, should we discuss the one case?
We can do that after the opening reading.
Okay,
I'll make
very
that
good.
announcement.
Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Mac, for the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The Metropolitan Short-Term Rental Board of Appeals is now in session for the regularly scheduled meeting of February 23rd, 2022. I'm Bonnell McBrum III, the Short-Term Rental Property Chief, and I will be presenting the cases for the board's review in today's public hearing. At this time, I would ask everyone to either turn off their cell phones or put them on silence as not to disrupt today's meeting. The procedure will be to introduce the case record. At the conclusion of our presentation, the appellant will present their case to the board along with any person in support. If there is opposition to the case, the board will then hear from those parties. After the opposition has presented their testimony, the appellant will have a period for rebuttal. The board in their rules provides the appellant in cases without opposition 5 minutes for the appellant to present their case. In a contested case, the board provides 10 minutes for each side to present their testimony. Should the appellant wish to provide rebuttal testimony, the appellant should reserve some of their allotted 10 minutes for the rebuttal. The Metro Code requires that these proceedings are taped, and therefore it is imperative that anyone addressing the board come forward, speak into the microphone, identify yourself, and then make your presentation. It should be noted, if it is found that anyone has presented false or misleading testimony to the board that would have affected the board's decision, the approval may be revoked at a later date by means of show cause hearing. The board will go through all cases set for public hearing today. After each case, the board will discuss and vote on that case. The board is vested with the power to act on these cases before us today under following provisions as outlined in the Metropolitan Code section 6.28.035. The code requires 4 members of the 7-member board to be present to constitute a quorum. The code also requires that 4 affirmative votes to grant your application. In the event there are only 4 members present and there are not 4 affirmative votes, the cases will be rescheduled for the next available public hearing cycle. In the event that there are 5 or more members present, which of course is not the case today, the appellant or any aggrieved party owner may request rehearing within 60 days of this public hearing. Further, the appellant or any aggrieved party property owner may also appeal the board's decision to Chancery Court within the same 60-day period. After that time is elapsed, the board's decision becomes final and no further action can be taken. If you are an appellant and your case is granted, it will be necessary for you to obtain the permit for which you applied. It should be noted the permit must be obtained within 2 years for the board approval to remain valid. I submit that all cases have been filed in proper order. All appellants have been notified by certified mail as required by the code. All affected property owners have been notified, and a legal ad has been published in the Tennessean as required by the code. At this time, we ask if there are any elected representatives present that wish to address the board. Seeing none, our first order of business will be case 2022-008, 1029 Cheatham Place. It appears that this case will not have a quorum. Madam Chairman?
Yes. So could I see whoever's here representing that case? Oh, hello. Please step up. We're going to have a seat. Could you identify yourself, give your name and address for the record?
Seth Klein, Collins Legal. Address is 1811 Fatherland Street, Nashville, Tennessee, 37206. On behalf of Ms. Annette Lowe for STR Appeal 2022-0098.
Eight.
Eight.
Very good. So we will not be able to address this case today because we're going to have a member of this board recuse himself. So your case will be deferred until next meeting, right? The appellant does not need to change its sign or alert his or her neighbors again. That will just carry over. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Councilman Parker, just to address one thing, the last time.
I don't believe that the public hearing is open
Oh,
for
I apologize. I
comments like
thought.
that.
I will certainly do that. Thank you.
Very good.
Now, our first case on the agenda is case 2022-004, 82 Evanston Avenue. On August 3rd of 2018, a multifamily not-owner occupied permit application was initiated. On August the 8th of 2018, the permit was issued. On August the 10th of 2018, the Airbnb ad was posted. On August the 26th, permit was renewed. August 24th, 2020, permit renewed. I have a typo error here, but it's August the 8th of 2021, the permit expired. October 1st of 2021, this address was on the September list of STRPs advertising and operating without a permit or with an expired permit, provided by Metro's compliance contractor, Granicus Host Compliance, for follow-up by our team. Notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. December 10th of 2021, the STR Board appeal was filed. There were 4 documented stays in November after the end of the remedial time period, which ended on November the 1st of 2021. The ad was removed and reposted several times beginning on December 5th of 2021. As of the day of this writing, January the 20th of 2022, the ad is posted. This pattern is indicative of an Airbnb ad that has been placed on sleep mode. However, the fact that the ad has reposted allows Granicus Host Compliance Tracking to verify that there have been no documented stays since November of 2021. There was one documented hotline complaint on July 17th of 2021 by a short-term rental renter complaining that there was no running water during their stay. There were no documented complaints on the Metro Hub.
Very good. I'm going to assume that you are Mr. LaFaro.
That's me.
Before we get started, could I ask if anyone is here in opposition to Mr. LaFaro's case? Okay, very good. And a note to everyone today, you heard Mac talk about the time restrictions and requirements. Sometimes when we only have a case or two that goes a little over, we're going to be strict about that today just because it's such a full docket, okay? So, Mr. LaFaro, could you tell us about your situation, but start with your name and your address for the record?
Hello, board members. My name is Jordan LaFaro. The address of the property that I own is 82 Evanston Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee.
And we need the address at which you live,
I
please.
live in Columbus, Ohio. That's 2790 Dale Avenue, Columbus, Ohio, 43209.
Okay.
Great. Well, my appeal is, I think, a simple one. I was sad to hear that my local contact person who helps me operate the Airbnb, she had passed away. I did not realize this until a couple months after she had died. And so she was responsible for receiving my local communications from the city and of course, for submitting the cash in person, or the check in person for renewing my permit. And so I did not realize that my permit had expired until the paper was posted onto the door of my property. So I suppose there were a few notices delivered by mail which I did not receive because they would have gone to Carrie, the deceased. And so was sad to lose Carrie, was also horrified to realize that I had let my permit expire. You guys have seen that I had been timely renewing that permit since it was first issued to me in 2018. And about 2 weeks after I saw that notice, I shut down the short-term rental platform and took that off. So, like I said, I saw that notice at the very end of October, and then in early November, I turned everything off in anticipation of this meeting. I did post my sign on my yard. I did mail my 180-something neighbors with notice of this hearing, and I'll be sure to not let that happen again. I've, of course, found a new local person to help me, assist in all of these matters in the future, and I'll have to keep, better record in the future to make sure that things, to confirm that my permit is being renewed on time. And so that is the, my humble appeal. It's not something that would happen again. It's out of my character. It's not something that will happen in the future. And, my property is licensed commercially as well. I know that doesn't really have much bearing, but it is how my property is, a commercially licensed one. So that is my case. I was horrified to see that it lapsed, and I'll make sure that it won't happen again.
Very good. Okay, great. I should have asked, sorry, before Mr. LaFaro started, if anyone on the board had a question for Metro before we got started. So hopefully no one did. Everyone's good. Any questions for the appellant? No? Could I trouble you to ask when Ms. Carey passed away?
The details of that are unclear. It was her and her husband. You know, their phone lines disconnected. I was then able to sort of do a little bit of research, and I was able to talk to Mike, her husband, and he was able to share with me that she had died. I'm not sure when that happened. Sometime end of summer or early fall. But they, I guess, left their apartment, or he did, as she had gone to the hospital, and that is why the mail that was going to them was no longer being responded to or being forwarded to me. So I'm not sure if it was COVID or not. And so that was, we'd been working together for 3 years, so I was really sad to hear it. And then on top of it, I found out that my permit had expired, so.
Okay. So your permit expired in August, and
I found out October 25th, when the inspector had actually posted the paper on my door, and my tenant took a picture of it and sent it to me.
Understood.
Yeah.
There were still 4 documented stays after that time, though, huh?
I was emailing with Inspector Frabot, and who had helped me get the permit initially, and I know that there was a grace period, so I had overnighted my renewal to him that same day that I received the notice, and I was I guess like hoping or wishing that the grace period would be extended to me, and when I realized that wasn't possible, that's when I shut the calendar down.
You did have a grace period, but that ended, let's see, that would have ended September 8th. So you did have a grace period.
Yes, it ended before I knew I needed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to close the public hearing so we can discuss this amongst ourselves. If you like. That is certainly the first time that has been brought to us, that someone passed away unknowingly. I think, too, we aren't seeing complaints from neighbors. There was the one complaint, and it seems to be that it came during, from a renter, and it seems to have come during a time when maybe there wasn't anyone kind of acting as the property manager. So I would be inclined to offer some relief in this matter. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree that we could offer some relief, at least starting it at the last documented stay, although I'm not sure how much time. I'm unsure about that yet, but I think we could probably start it in November or December 1st.
Okay.
I would agree with Mr. Lyko. 6 months from the last documented stay.
I would be comfortable with that. I mean, given I've not really considered what my orientation would be to a property manager passing away, and obviously it's just difficult. So yeah, I would be inclined. I'm not sure exactly what the motion should be, but it sounds like y'all have some ideas, so I'd be happy to hear those.
I think starting date would be the most recent documented stay, which we have as November. We don't have particular dates, so we'd have to decide upon a date in November. But if we could settle on a date to be the starting point in November, it's been proposed that we consider a 6-month delay in being allowed to pursue a new permit. What would you think of that? Do you think that's fair, overly generous?
Absent action, this would, he would be eligible, would it be early September? And then what's being proposed, let's say it's November 15th, 6 months from that would be middle of May rather than September. I think that that's a reasonable degree of relief.
Okay.
I think I have one question, and it's probably more for the appellant.
Okay. Do I need to reopen the public hearing in order to ask that question? Okay. We are going to reopen the public hearing so that Mr. Cabucci can ask Mr. LaFaro a question.
Mr. LaFaro, you have, from this documentation that we're looking at here, it feels like there's 3 different addresses that are your applicant address or your home address?
My home address?
Yeah, we see Boston, and then there's an address in Washington, D.C. that's listed on the listing, and then you said Columbus, Ohio?
Yes, sir.
So you've moved to some?
Yes, sir.
So-
My job's changed more frequently than I thought it would.
Okay. But you've had all of your mail directed to the property manager?
Yes,
For this-
and no longer.
Oh,
Assuming
correct,
we're able
right,
to
yes,
change,
right.
I'll have it make sure it comes to me personally.
Okay.
So that something like this
All
does
right.
not happen.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes, sir.
Okay, public hearing's closed. I think I will make a motion that we consider a 6-month delay in being permitted to renew, and the starting date on that be November 15th. So allowing the appellant to apply again beginning May 15th. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Can I see a show of hands? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. So we are offering 6 months waiting period. November 15th is the start date. May 15th is the first day at which you'd be eligible to reapply. And that's how we're going to handle this case. Is there anything I missed? Nope. Very good. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, board.
Our next case is 2022-005, 831 Vibe Place. On August the 9th, 2019, a multifamily non-owner occupied permit application was initiated, and the permit was issued on August 27th of 2019. On August 28th of 2019, Airbnb website ad was posted. On October the 11th of 2019, a VRBO website ad was posted. On June 23rd of 2020, the renewal documentation was received, and on June 25th of 2020, the renewal fee was paid. August 26th of 2020, permit renewed. August 27th, 2021, permit expired. November 23rd of 2021, the address is on the monthly list of properties advertising and operating them without a permit or with an expired permit provided by Metro Government's compliance contractor, Granicus Host Compliance, for follow-up investigation. The notice violation was sent to Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. On December the 11th of 2021, the Airbnb website ad was removed. On December the 18th of 2021, the second Airbnb website was removed. And on December 22nd of 2021, a short-term rental board appeal was filed. January 22nd of 2022, Airbnb website and VRBO website ads were reposted and were removed. There were 4 documented stays after the permit expired. There were no documented stays after the remedial time period. There were no documented complaints for the property in either the Metro Hub or with the host compliance hotline.
Very good. Any questions for Metro before we hear from the appellant? No? Okay, very good. Hi, folks. So if are we going to hear from both of you?
Yes.
Okay. So as each of you begin, share with us your name and your address, the address at which you live, okay? Not the address of the property. We're aware of that.
Okay. So my name is Candace Salter. My address is 7544 Hallows Drive, Nashville 37221.
And I'm Derek Salter, 7544 Hallows Drive, 37221.
Very good. And can you tell us about your situation?
Yes, so my sole responsibility for this company, which we have about 30 Airbnbs in the area, is to renew and apply for permits. This is 100% my fault. This was a complete oversight. Unfortunately, around this time, I was facing some extremely serious health conditions, which I actually brought my medical claims because I want you all to know that this is not a fabricated story. This is just what my reality was at the point. So this one slipped through the cracks. This is the first time this has ever happened. I now have some protocols in place to make sure that this does not happen again, because not only did this impact a home that we own, it also impacted someone else's house that we manage. This is the biggest mistake that I could have ever made. So going forward, in addition to the emails that we receive from codes to renew the permits, I have all of my permits filled out for the entire year. I keep them in here. And now I'm so paranoid about making the mistake again that I also have a spreadsheet that I check off once one is done. So I have the claims. I'm willing to show you all whatever you need to see, but I have to take ownership for this. But at the same time, life will hit you, so I have to make sure that this never happens again.
Mr. Salter, anything you'd like to add?
No, ma'am, she summed it up.
Okay. I don't know if I speak for the entire board, but I would be loath to look at your medical records. Thank you for bringing them. And thanks for your very brief and specific explanation. Mm-hmm. Any questions for the appellants? I actually have a couple. Quickly. So you say that you have 30 other properties. Mm-hmm. Do you own this property and then manage others, or do you own all 30?
No, we own a few and then we manage. He probably would know the specific numbers with that, mm-hmm. but we own a good portion of them.
You own a good portion of them. Mm-hmm. What's a good portion?
So we own about 10, and we're partners on a few of them. We have about 20 that we manage for other people.
Okay. And this is the first and only time?
First and only time. As a matter of fact, when I went to the codes department to let them know what happened, they were surprised because their exact words were, "You are always on time. You're always early. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe I let it happen." And I mean, these properties, they're in good standing. So there's no reason as to why I wouldn't go through and renew the permit, because I feel very confident that they would have been approved.
And you said that it affected your house. You don't live at this property?
No, we don't live at this property.
So how did this affect your house?
Just taking it off of Airbnb in itself. I
think this particular one is the one that we're 50-50 owners with another owner. The house next door, which is 833 as well, those permits were due at the same time, so I'm sure shortly we'll be back up here again explaining that. But both of those, it was just an honest mistake.
Okay, so this is the first and only time, but first and only time that you've come here, but there's another one that's looming.
Also today. No, it's the same, on the same docket as today.
It's really looming. It's the next one on the docket.
It's okay. 005, and
okay.
so.
Okay.
They were up for renewal at the same time, and during this time frame is when all this stuff happened at our house.
Okay.
And prior to this, my way of remembering to renew the permits were I would get alert on my calendar. So in addition to having them done, the emails, now I also have him tagged on the alert so that it's two sets of eyes, making sure that we're on top of things.
Got it. Let me pause our conversation to just briefly ask, is it a possibility that we can dispose of both of these cases at once since it's the same set of circumstances, or do I need to?
Both cases have to be read into the record.
Okay, very good. All right, well, let's deal with this one and then we'll address the next one. Okay. Well, does that change anyone else's position? Have any other questions? Any concerns?
In the packet, there's a email from a neighbor on Dozier Place, which is just south of this development, asking the appeal to be denied. Is there anyone present to speak on this case aside from the appellants? Okay, I don't see any. I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention that there is a letter in there.
Thank you. I'd forgotten that this went to this case, and actually, it seems to be applied to the next one, too. The same gentleman wrote.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do have, we do have some letters from a neighbor asking that we deny the permits. Could you, you don't need to testify against yourself, but could you share with us what the vibe, not to make a joke out of the street name, but what the vibe is in the neighborhood? We, you know, we do take it very seriously when we hear from neighbors that they are displeased with, you know, an Airbnb in the neighborhood or
So-
on the street, what have you.
Yeah, so this is a huge development. It's counted by itself. There are no single-family homes anywhere near it. It's about 30 to probably 40 to 50 units over there. We have the end unit and the unit right beside. There's a coffee shop beside there, and there are probably no single-family homes within maybe 6 or 7 blocks of that area.
Okay. And there have been no documented complaints on either property?
I would, the Dozier Place is just directly to the south of this development, and that is a largely single-family neighborhood or block.
I'm not sure where Dozier Place is. I just know right beside us is a church on the side to the left.
Yes, sir.
The side to the right is a coffee shop, and across from us is another Airbnb development.
Well, this gentleman that wrote in was close enough to receive notice of the appeal. And so obviously close enough to be affected in order to be subject to receiving notification from you. Any other questions or discussion to be had? No? No? Okay, with that, I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you both. If you want to stay put, that's great. And we're going to discuss how we want to manage this case. And I think that we will keep in mind the upcoming matter to follow this one while we discuss. What do you think?
So I'm looking at just Google Maps of the property. Looks like 30 some odd single-family residences that butt up to a neighborhood.
From the neighborhood from where the complaint came?
From
Okay,
Dozier
yeah,
Street,
yeah,
Dozier
yeah.
Place.
Yeah.
This also seems pretty self-contained too, so I don't really know if I would put a lot of weight on that complaint
Okay,
or that response.
yep. We don't have many details. It may just be someone who objects to the concept in general. How do you think we should proceed? Keeping in mind that we probably will dispose of the following case in the same manner, because the circumstances are the same.
I would probably go with a 6-month from last day.
If we're going to propose that reduction, my suggestion would be to begin it from the date the ads were removed,
Yeah, because that
That's
is a
fair.
violation.
Yeah, that's fair.
being December 11th in this case.
Well, on December 18th, the ad was reposted, though.
Okay.
And then it was removed. I'm sorry, the public hearing is closed. The ad was reposted, and then they were removed January 22nd. I have a feeling I know what Mr. Salter was going to say, is that it was on sleep or what have you, and they kind of automatically repost. But nonetheless, this is, you know, it is one's responsibility to remove these.
Can we reopen the public hearing and ask?
I think we should, given that
Go
the
ahead.
next case will involve
Go
another
ahead.
public hearing.
We will reopen the public hearing in order to discuss this.
Thank you.
So,
got-
Hold on.
Sorry.
Mr. Salter, can you explain why the ad was taken down and then reposted?
Sure. Sorry for that, speaking out of turn. I got an email from Mr. Mr. Phelps. He said that we could repost the ad, but we had to do a 30-night minimum stay. I have the email printed off right here where he gave me approval for that.
It's very good we reopened the public hearing. That's 100% correct. That's actually, and that's something, when we do these summaries, if something, we normally do catch that. If something's been reposted for a 30-day minimum, we normally have that. So are you quite sure that when you reposted it, it was a 30-day minimum?
Yes, very, very much.
You don't happen to have a screenshot of that by any chance?
I don't, but what I wound up doing, because we have like a third-party software, so I was just paranoid. I kept checking it every day. So I just wound up just taking it and just putting it down altogether.
Okay. Okay.
I have his email if you guys want to see it.
We're good. We believe you. Because that is a remedy to go to a 30-day minimum, because that isn't a violation. You can post for a 30-day. So that is not a violation. So, so then December 11th, you removed it. You had this interaction with codes, and you were told you could repost for 30 days, and that's the December 18th date that it was reposted.
That's correct.
Okay.
I would actually like to see the email, please.
Oh. Doubting Thomas over here.
It's my understanding that we all need to see that if we're going
Okay.
to take it into consideration. There's lawyers over here that might think different, but
I'm not going to put my glasses on. Quick question, I can leave it up if I do a 30-night minimum. Yep. Oh. All right. Shall we close the public hearing? Yes. Okay, let's consider the public hearing closed. And I think that, can we get the, okay. So December 11th was the date that it was removed as a short-term rental. So I think that should be the date from which we operate.
I have a question. I don't know if this is for staff, actually, just regarding how this part of the packet works. Because it says, let's see, on the second page of the listing, it says that, in here, it says that the minimum stay is 2 nights. But then it says the screenshot was last captured on December 9th. Or the listing info was last captured on December 17th. But then it says that the listing was reposted on December 18th. So I'm just trying to figure out the timeline there, and if the 2-night minimum is before it was reposted, or just how that works, you know, the specific timing of this packet that we have.
Understood.
Is my question.
I think that's a question for Mac. So when he's done
The way I would
playing
interpret
Space
it,
Invaders, we'll.
I was in the process of pulling up the match property listing.
Yeah.
And I was going to see if they had captured a screenshot between December 11th and 18th. Generally, if I didn't quite have time to examine it closely enough, but generally on the right side of the match property listing, if that's where they have the 2-night minimum stay, that would be for the majority of the life of the advertisement. But
Right.
given a moment, I can probably confirm that for you.
But I think Mike is pointing out that what date are you seeing on there? That it says it was last captured?
Yeah, it says listing info last captured on December 17th. It's under the listing details in the packet.
I'll have to check.
Okay, because if that is the case, then it doesn't appear that it was a 30-night minimum during that time.
Mike was just saying that it's a 2-night minimum for the length of all the listing, right? So is that an average then? It's an average 2-night? I think there's some clarity that we need around that too. Because if it changed to 30 days on the 18th, The day that the last listing info was captured was the 17th. So, I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of a moot point.
And I guess it's also possible as an Airbnb owner as well to know that your listing can have like a minimum 2-night stay, and then you can set up a seasonal, for the next
Yeah.
3 years to say 30 days minimum. I don't know if that's the case here. I don't know if we need to clarify it or not, or.
Yeah, you can set that up day to day. You can change the rate day to day. But the screenshot is not manipulable. In other words, in order to see what the calendar says, you have to actually click on the date as if you were booking,
Got
and
it.
then it will tell you 30-night minimum. It has the advertisement from that date, but it has not clicked the calendar, therefore that information is not available, and I can't obtain it.
Okay,
But I do know that generally on the advertisement, when it says minimum 2-night stay, that is for the majority of the advertisement. It won't, if there's a 1 or 2 night difference along the way, it won't capture that, won't record that.
okay. All right. All right. So before we got down this path, we were talking about the date we would start, which I think we're all pretty comfortable with, December 11th. And what are we talking about for relief? I heard 6 months. Do we feel comfortable with that? Do we think that's overly generous, fair, not fair?
I think 6 months starting on December 11th, meaning that they could reapply for a permit
June 11th.
June 11th.
Okay. Good. Would you like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I move,
I move to issue some relief at a 6-month period, starting December 11th,
very good.
so that the appellants can reapply for a permit on June 11th of 2022.
I second. Show of hands. Unanimous. The ayes have it. Okay, very good. So we need to read the next one into the record, but you gathered what happened, right? So June 11th, you can reapply. I think that's a Saturday, but you'll work it out.
Okay, the next case is 2022-006, 833 Vide Place. And I do want to remind the board that this is a MUL-A, that's a mixed-use, limited alternative, and it is designed for rather intense combination of businesses and also residences. On August 16th of 2019, the multifamily not owner-occupied permit application initiated. On October 27th, 2019, the permit was issued. August 28th of 2019, Airbnb website ad was posted. On September 16th, 2019, the second Airbnb website ad was posted. And there was also an ad for 2 units, Unit 833 and 835. I've spoken with Mr. Salter. He indicated he's no longer associated with that Unit 835. But the advertisement was legal at the time. On April 23rd of 2020, on August 11th of 2019, a VRBO website ad was posted, and this ad again was for 2 units, 831 and 833. On April 23rd of 2020, a notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for permit number not displayed in the website advertisement. On May 25th, 2020, the ad had been corrected and the case was closed. On June 23rd, 2020, the renewal documentation was received. On June 25th of 2020, renewal fee paid, and then August 26th, the expiration date, the permit was renewed. November 29th of 2020, Airbnb website ad was removed. August 27th of 2021, permit expired. On November 23rd of 2021, the address again appeared on a monthly list provided by Metro compliance contractor, Gronicus Host Compliance, for follow-up investigation, and a notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. On December 11th of 2020, Airbnb website ad was removed. On December 18th, 2020, the Airbnb website ad was reposted. On December 19th of 2021, the STR board appeal was filed. January 22nd of 2022, the second Airbnb website ad and the VRBO website ad were removed. January 2022, one documented review. Host compliance tracking did not record a documented stay for January 2022. However, there is a review on the advertisement. There were 7 documented stays and 1 documented review after the permit expired. There was 1 documented review after the notice of violation was received. There were no documented complaints for the property in either the Metro Hub or with the host compliance hotline.
Very good. Anyone have any questions for Metro before we begin? Nope. And I imagine no one feels any tremendous need to discuss this again, right? Okay. I'm going to make a motion that this case be disposed of as the last one was. 6-month delay in permission to reapply, beginning on December 11th of 2021. So like the other property, you will be able to apply June 11th.
Actually, I had a question about
Oh,
that.
all right.
Because for us, because the last stay was in November, so I'm wondering if we would start it from then.
Because the ad was posted through December 11th, which
Yeah,
is
okay.
a violation.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so the motion is 6 months delay in permission to reapply. Starting date December 11th would allow the Salters to reapply June 11th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Very good. Can I see a show of hands? Unanimous? Very good. So both permits will be managed in the same fashion, so June 11th. Okay? Thank you very much for your time today, folks. All right.
Next case before the board is 2022-007, 1822B, 11th Avenue North. This is an R6 zone. On July 31st of 2018, owner-occupied permit application was initiated, and on August the 9th of 2018, the permit was issued. August 26th of 2018, the Airbnb website ad was posted. August 15th of 2019, the permit was renewed. On August 18th of 2020, the permit again was renewed. August 9th of 2021, the permit expired. On October 20th of 2021, the address was again on the monthly list provided by Metro's compliance contractor, Gronicus Host Compliance, for follow-up investigation. Then a notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. On November the 11th of 2021, the Airbnb website ad was removed within the remedial time period, and the case was closed. On January 25th of 2022, the Airbnb website ad was reposted with a 30-night minimum stay. There were 8 documented stays after the permit expired. There were no documented stays after the remedial time period, and there were no documented complaints for the property on either the Metro Hub or with the host compliance hotline.
Very good. Anyone have any questions for Metro before we begin with the appellant? Nope. Very good. Could you give us your name and your address for the record, and then tell us about your situation?
Israel Kirk, 1822B, 11th Avenue North, Nashville, Tennessee, 37208. I appreciate you all allowing me to come and make the appeal to have my permit renewed earlier than the law allows. On November 8th, I returned home and I saw a stop work order on my door posted from Mr. John Feltz I immediately reached out to Mr. Phelps and, one, apologized for allowing the permit to expire, as I know that is my responsibility, and inquire what could be done in order to bring the permit into compliance right away. Additionally, I let him know that I had not received any prior notice for the renewal, as I had in previous years. While I was waiting for his reply, I reached out to Ms. Teresa Moore over at the Department of Codes, the administrative assistant, and inquired of her via email what I could do. Could I just pay my permit fee as well as provide updated insurance, as was the process in previous years? Later on in the day, Mr. Phelps responded to me and stated that since the property was posted and it was past the 30-day grace period, that I would have to reach out to Mr. Frabbit and see what his suggestions were. So I did this, but he did also say that it would probably be a couple of days before Mr. Frabbit would respond. So after waiting a couple of days, I followed up with Mr. Phelps, letting him know that I had not received any word back from Mr. Frabbit. He then encouraged me to reach out to Mr. Robert Osborne, which I made him aware of my situation, that I had not received prior notification for renewal, as I had in previous years. And at that time, he also said, hey, Israel, your permit is past the 30-day grace period, so what you'll have to do now is to go ahead and apply for a new permit, which I began doing immediately. I didn't officially submit my new application until December 3rd. My property taxes were in escrow. They're paid by my lender, so they weren't being paid till December 3rd. And in order to cure the requirements for all applicable taxes to be paid for the application, I had to wait for that time. I received an email on December 7th that thanking me for my patience and that my application had been received and it would take 15 to 20 days to complete. The next notification I received was on December 20th, stating that because it was operating past the grace period, that I would either have to wait a year to renew the permit or appeal to the short-term rental board, which brings me here today. Obviously, I fully understand that it is my responsibility to renew the permit annually, and I take full accountability for that. My hopes are that the board will take into consideration the detrimental reliance upon notification, that specifically stating that in previous years, once this happened, I did renew, as well as when I received notification from Mr. Phelps, I immediately moved to bring the property into compliance and exhausted all efforts to do that. I'm asking that the board lessen my waiting period to 60 to 75 days from the last documented stay or from the time of my permit application of December 3rd. I appreciate you all's consideration, and I will make sure that this does not happen again. And I do have documented communication from John Phelps, everybody, who I was trying to reach out during this time to get this rectified.
Chairman
ahead, Sean.
Caputo.
Yeah.
May I interrupt? I neglected.
Yes, please.
Is there any opposition to this case? Seeing none.
Okay, great, thank you. Councilman Parker, go right ahead.
Thank you. Sir, so I'm seeing 1822A 11th Avenue North listed as the appellant's address, and then the permit address is 1822B. Is this an HPR where you own both sides?
It is. I do own both sides, yes,
Okay,
sir. Yes.
just wanted to be clear on that. Thank you.
And I just want to confirm with you, so you first acquired a permit in 2018, you renewed the next year, you renewed the year after that. Are you telling the board that the only reason you knew to renew was because you got something in the mail?
Yes, ma'am, I do. Again, I know it's my responsibility to renew, but I rely heavily on the renewal notification. I post it on my calendar, and I, like previous years, renew on time.
You post it on your calendar, but you wait for the letter to come to post it on your
Oh,
calendar?
I do wait for the letter to come, yes. Yeah, there's no denial of that.
Are you aware that Metro no longer sends what was a courtesy?
Yeah, so I was talking with Mr. Osborne, and he said, Israel, it's a courtesy of Metro, not a requirement to send out renewal notification. And, everybody's great. I haven't had any issues, over the previous years working with the various examiners. He did make mention, I inquired of him asking with the new laws in regards to, the PIN being sent out to owners in order to renew. I would assume that the owners are going to be continuing to rely on this notification from the city in order to renew. Otherwise, we would not get this PIN. And again, I think it takes effect, or it took effect recently, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's a pin that's being sent out. I just got a letter. There was a pin being sent out that in order to renew your permit going forward, you have to be in receipt of this pin in order to,
Oh, PIN.
Yeah,
Like
PIN.
personal identification
Yeah.
number. Okay. I thought we were saying pen, and I
Oh,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
you can
yeah.
use any pen to sign that. Yeah, I'm not particularly familiar with the mechanism by which you're doing this. I know we're going to an online renewal system. Is that what the
Yes,
PIN is for?
As of, and forgive me, it was either November 1st or November 30th, we've gone to an fully electronic system, and we send an email at 60 days. If no contact has been made, then at 45 days. And that email contains a specific code whereby the owner can renew.
Got it. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I have a quick question for the appellant. I noticed in the match listing, there's an owner address of 3715 Stevens Lane.
yeah, so that is my parents' address. When I was building the property back in 2017, as soon as the certificate of occupancy was issued, well, on the owner's, when I signed the loan documents, that was the mailing address that was put on there. So that was recorded with the city. But I've always lived at 1822 since it's being finished construction.
Anybody else?
One more quick question for staff. Sometimes it's in our packet, but I didn't see it today. Are there any documented complaints on this property?
No, sir, I did not have any documented complaints on either the Metro Hub or with the host compliance hotline.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. If there are no more questions, I think I'll close the public hearing, and we can discuss this amongst ourselves.
Just looking at this one, I mean, I do see what appears to be a pretty active attempt at remediation, and that's always like the first thing I look for when we consider these cases. So I don't have quite to the point of wanting to make a motion or suggest anything, but that is kind of the first thing I look for, and I'm seeing it here, so that's a positive sign.
Agreed.
As a follow-up, I look at complaints from the neighborhood as well. And so, yeah, both of those things are both in order.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm not really sure where to go.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that there's definitely good faith, and it was a mistake. I know that I'm just not sure what the resolution would be.
Okay. Well, while we all think about what the resolution will be, I think there will be some, especially when you consider this case in light of others we've heard in the past. I think there'll be some relief granted. So let's settle first on what we think an appropriate start date is. We have a few documented stays in November, even while the permit was expired. Granted, this was during a time of communication with folks at Codes, so I can see where the appellant would feel that he wasn't doing anything inappropriate in that he was in communication. And no one was saying, I'm sure the notice said, stop now. But I don't think the emails probably said, oh, heck no. I think one of the emails said, November 11th, it'll take a few days to review this. So I would think that one would feel, oh, well, I have this grace period, even if it isn't the official grace period. So I'm not quite sure what date to settle on. November 11th was the day that the website ad was removed. I mean, that at least gives us a date to lean on.
Yes, I agree. So there's always so many different, there's the date that the permit expired, there's the date of the notice, there's the date of remediation, and then we try to weigh all of those. And then also there's just sort of the time it takes folks to get here before us that I think we can weigh in as well. And then this one, appellant, I believe, requested 60 to 75 days was their request of the board.
Yes.
if we say that's from today, that does put us more at a 6-month from November 11th would be May 11th, and we're relatively close to that territory with what the appellant has requested of the board. So all that to say, I think May 1 seems like a reasonable date to me.
Okay.
I would agree.
All right. You'll hear no arguments from me?
Okay, well then I will move that the appellant be granted relief from the 1-year prohibition and is eligible to reapply on May 1st.
Second.
Can I see a show of hands? Unanimous. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was a big smile. Thanks for your time today. Okay, next case. Very generous today, everybody. Everyone's very generous today. Yeah? I know. I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench now.
Our next case is 2022-009, 1519 Ashwood Avenue. Excuse me. On July 17th, 2017, an owner-occupied permit application was initiated. On October the 16th of 2017, owner-occupied permit was issued. On November 29th of 2017, Airbnb website ad was posted. On June the 5th of 2018, VRBO ad was posted. On June the 6th of 2018, Airbnb website ad posted. And on June 22nd of 2018, Airbnb website ad was removed. On October the 2nd of 2018, the permit renewal fee paid. On October 16th, the permit was renewed. On April 5th of 2019, the permit renewal fee was paid. And on October the 16th of 2019, the permit again was renewed. On April 18th of 2020, the VRBO website ad was removed. On October 21st of 2020, the permit renewal fee was again paid and the permit renewed. On October 16th of 2021, the permit expired. In December 20 of 2021, a check receipt was received for payment for renewal fee, and 65 days past the expiration and 35 days past the end of the grace period. January 5th of 2022, the address was on the monthly list provided by Metro Government's compliance contractor, and a notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. On January the 8th of 2022, the Airbnb website ad was removed. On January the 10th, it was reposted with a 31-night minimum stay, and the STR, our short-term rental board appeal, was filed. On January the 19th of 2022, the Airbnb website ad remained posted with a 31-night minimum stay, and the case was closed. There were 5 documented stays in October. The permit expired on October the 16th. Some of the 5 stays may have occurred after the permit expired, but there are no dates on the review to substantiate that. There were 3 documented stays after the permit expired in November and December. There were no documented stays after the notice of violation was received. There was no documented complaints for the property, either the Metro Hub or on the host compliance. There was a letter of opposition sent in response to the appeal notification letter mailed by the appellant, and it stated in no uncertain terms that the owner does not reside at the STRP, but rather lives in North Carolina. And additionally, there was an email that was sent also in response to the appellant's letter that basically stated the same.
Okay, before we let you go, Max, so I'm sorry, we have a letter, but there's also an email as well? Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Let me pull it out here.
Is it in our packet?
No, ma'am, I don't believe it is because
Okay.
apologize, I don't have that email printed.
Okay. Alrighty. Any questions for Metro before we get started and hear from the appellant? The public hearing is not open for you yet, sir, so. Any questions for,
Is that an email that you can print?
can we get a copy of that email?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. And could you share with us your memory of the substance of the email is challenging whether or not Ms. Morrison actually lives in the, is this the email though? No, he said there was a letter and an email. Yeah. So the substance of it was repetitive of what we have in this letter here,
That's correct.
claiming that this owner doesn't actually live in the owner-occupied place.
That's correct.
Okay, alrighty, thank you. All right, so we will, sorry, go ahead.
Is there any opposition to the case present? Seeing none.
Okay, so we will open the public hearing, and whoever, are you both going to speak? Very good. So we can open your microphones. Yours is open, ma'am. Okay, and when you do speak, share with us your name and your address for the record, and then tell us about the situation.
My name is Roxy Morrison. I live at 1519 Ashwood Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee, 37212.
Okay.
And I bought 1519 Ashwood Avenue in 1986 and raised my children there. At the time I bought it, it was a rooming house with multiple tenants, and it required extensive renovation. It's a duplex with 3 bedrooms downstairs and an apartment with an outside entrance upstairs. My family lived downstairs. I remarried in 1991. My husband Dave is here with me. And we later bought a home together, and we leased the duplex. In 2016, I canceled the leases and spent a year and over $100,000 renovating both units. During that time, I moved upstairs and made it my residence. In 2017, we got our STR permit for the downstairs, and mostly we rent to people with connections to Vanderbilt and Belmont. I've spoken to my neighbors and told them that we operate an STR and share my personal contact should they ever have an issue. But we never have had a complaint about guest activity. I want to point out we have letters from 3 neighbors in support of our appeal. And I have copies for all of you if you'd like to have those. I always receive my permit renewals in the mail, and I've renewed them on time. I count on getting the form to let me know the new fee amount because it seems to change every year. It started off at $50, and now it's $313, I believe. This year I did not receive a notice until well after the deadline had expired. I don't know why it came so late. My manager and I always check the mail. When it came, the envelope was dirty and battered. I completed the form right away and mailed it with my check. A couple times I've tried to check the renewal form online so I could budget for the new fee amount, but I've never found the right website, so I wait for the mail to come. On January 5th, as noted, I got an email from Metro stating my permit had expired and I was in violation. Until that, I thought I was operating with a permit because I'd mailed the check and the form. Like getting reminders from the state to renew my car tags, I have counted on getting the renewal form in the mail. Of course, the renewal date is now on my annual calendar. I asked the board to give me relief and allow me to reapply for the permit 2 months from the time I received notice on January 5th, 2022. And my husband Dave has some comments.
First of all, I haven't seen an email. I don't know that. Mr. McBurn.
Sir, we need your address and your name.
Okay, fine.
Remember?
Charles David Morrison. I live at 1519 Ashwood, but we also have a home in North Carolina.
And the address there, please?
The address is 211 Brookwood, Wilmington, North Carolina. We have 2 homes. This is one here. Roxy spends most of her time here. I spend more of my time in Wilmington, North Carolina. As I started to get into, we don't know anything about an email. We did see, Mr. McBurn was kind enough to mail us the letters in favor of this from our neighbors. There were 3. And there was one that I will call basically scurrilous rumor because the person didn't see fit. It's anonymous.
We have a copy of that letter, so.
I
we're-
understand, and what I'm moving right now is to strike that. The jurisprudence in the United States does not tolerate anonymous, scurrilous rumor to be the basis of a board's decision. I don't know of any tribunal other than maybe the terror in France a few hundred years ago that would allow it, and I'm asking you not to consider it.
We'll take that into consideration, but I do want to point out to you, you only have 1:45 left
Okay.
to speak, so
Fine.
anything else you want to share with us?
All right, fine. I'm glad to see that the staff and the agency have converted to an email system. The problem we had on November 22nd, I came here, went down to check the mailbox, and there was a crumpled letter in the bottom of it that basically came from Metro, which I took to Roxy. And that's the first notice we had that there was a problem with the permit. I don't know why it took that long. I know that you all have had a number of hearings this year with respect to the issue of getting the notice. And I understand that the date on the permit is the date on the permit. But the fact of the matter is, the letter is the only time you get notified of what the fee for that year is. So it is natural for people to wait for that. Now, granted, in the future, we won't. When we got permitted for this in 2017, the ordinance contemplated a fairly automatic renewal. You paid a $50 and you were renewed even after the expiration. The one-year debarment is the problem. It's pretty drastic. If you had your driver's license and it expired, I would submit to you there would be more of a problem, and the courts might have a problem with a one-year debarment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Your time is up. Okay, the public hearing is now closed unless anyone has a question for these folks. I'm so sorry. I know your first name was David. Tell me your last name again.
Morrison?
Morrison. Okay. Oh, you're both Morrison, of course. Thank
Yes.
you. So anyone has a question for Mr. or Mrs. Morrison? I'll get it started. So I'm sure you've picked up from the conversations we've had with other appellants today that despite the fact that you were relying on those letters were a courtesy only. There was never a guarantee that that was coming your way. It was your responsibility to renew those permits with or without a letter, right?
I fully understand that.
And just to confirm, just because there have been a few mentions from neighbors, whether or not it was anonymous or not, that this is not actually an owner-occupied unit. Do you occasionally rent both the upstairs unit and the downstairs unit?
Never. Not since I've lived there.
So now only the downstairs unit is
That's
rented?
correct.
And the upstairs unit is your property?
It's my property.
And you consider that your permanent home?
I do. Driver's license, I vote here, I get my hair done at Green Hills, I mean, yeah. I know everybody that walks dogs, I know that.
You have me convinced with the hairstylist. I mean, I get that.
Well, sorry about that.
Kidding, of course. Anyone have any questions? Okay. Mac, Mr. Kabuchi here has a question for you.
Can you remind us what is the distance requirement for a letter to be sent to neighbors, letting them know that they're appealing?
I'm sorry, that would be a 1,000. I knew that was what the Board of Zoning Appeals was, but it is also the same position, 1,000
1,000
feet.
1,000 feet.
Do you happen to recall how many letters you were required to send out by any chance?
252.
Very good, thank you. Anything, Mike? Okay. With no more questions, at the moment, I'm going to close the public hearing so we can discuss this amongst ourselves. What do you all think?
I'm just going to start off by saying that I'm struggling with these letters of support because neither of them appear to be within 1,000 feet of the home.
Oh, that's interesting. So what are the addresses on there? One's from a Ms. Locke. (1707) Blair Boulevard. And 1517 Elmwood Avenue. You know, I've shared this with you guys before too. You know, one of the letters in support, and this has come up before, one of the letters in support is like from another STR owner. And that's always a little less compelling just because it is, you know, there's kind of a shared agenda there. But I'm curious about this. You know, I know nobody's going to go out and do a survey right now, but I'm curious about these streets and whether or not they fall in that mailing requirement area, or if they're just friends who were helping out. We've got Blair Boulevard and Elmwood Ave.
May we ask?
The public hearing's closed, sir. When I reopen it, we can discuss it.
I mean, they do appear to be in the neighborhood.
In the general vicinity.
If not within the 1,000, without going into parcel viewer and drawing a thing up.
Yeah.
I can't really tell you if it's within 1,000,
One's
but
0.2 of a mile away, another's 0.4 of a mile away. So they're in the neighborhood, but would they have been notified by a letter? That's where I'm a little hesitant.
even so, I mean, just not to contradict or anything, but I mean, you know, anyone's allowed to pull up the agenda for this meeting and share
Sure.
their thoughts on any given case.
And anyone's allowed to appeal to their friends and neighbors and say, hey,
Absolutely.
I'm filing this appeal. But I get your point.
Yeah.
Matt?
Yes, letters of support can be solicited from anyone, but a portion of Blair Boulevard is within the 1,000 feet.
Very good. Okay. Anything, Mike?
I think we set a precedence in the previous three that were very similar.
Yep.
And so I would recommend that we approach this one similarly.
Okay. The precedents we've set today, it's been the 6-month day. But could I review the notes, please, on our dates? Because that's going to be the important thing, is what date we settle on. Okay. So, you know, the appellant did make an effort on December 20th to pursue a new permit. And granted, a few weeks later, the appellant's property showed up on the list there from the compliance contractor. But I think that the important action there was that the appellant tried to renew on the 20th. What do you think?
I'm more inclined to look at January 8th.
Okay.
When you receive notice that you're operating without a permit,
That's true.
it says advertising
Yep,
or
you're right.
renting
Yep.
is the violation.
That's true. 100%. Okay. So January 8th, it was removed. It was reposted, as we've seen with other cases, but with a 31-night minimum. So no problem with that. So January 8th would be our start date. Are you guys comfortable with allowing the Morrisons a 6-month waiting
Yes.
period as opposed to 12 months, and starting it on January 8th, the day that the website ad was removed, which we will count as the last violation. Good? Okay. I move to allow the Morrisons to reapply starting on June 8th, yeah? June 8th would be 6 months?
No, January to July would be 6 months.
Is that right?
July 8th.
July 8th, thank you. And math is a little off. So a 6-month waiting period beginning January 8th, which puts it July 8th of 2022. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Can I see a show of hands? Very good. Unanimous. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Mr. and Mrs. Morrison.
By the way, the lady doesn't have
Sir? All right, Mac, what's our next case?
Our next case was scheduled to be 409 Douglas Avenue, but in the review of the case, I discovered that we needed to go ahead and issue that permit. The case is actually being deferred. That is in case anything unforeseen arises that might prevent the permit from being issued, but it appears as though we'll have that issued before the next meeting. So the next case that we'll be hearing is 2022-011, 2732 Jones Avenue. July the 2nd of 2018, a multifamily not owner-occupied permit application was initiated. On August the 31st of 2018, the permit was issued. There were 6 website advertisements posted for this STRP, and for the purposes of this appeal hearing, I will focus on the 2 advertisements that remained posted at the time of the permit expiration. On December 11th of 2018, Airbnb website ad was posted. On December 18th of 2018, a VRBO ad was posted. On August the 22nd of 2019, the permit was renewed. August 20th of 2020, a notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for permit number not displayed in the website advertisements. May 25th of 2020, the advertisements had been corrected and the case was closed. September 25th of 2020, the permit was renewed. August 31st of 2021, the permit expired. On October 20th of 2021, the address again appeared on the list provided by Metro's compliance contractor, Granicus Host Compliance, for follow-up investigation, and notice of violation was sent by Inspector John Feltz for advertising and operating with an expired permit. November 24th, the website advertisement calendars were set for a 30-night minimum stay. On January the 20th of 2022, the STR Board Appeal was filed. There were 11 documented stays after the permit expired. The December stay was after the remedial time period. There were no documented complaints on host compliance hotline or with the Metro Hub.
Sir, are you here in opposition to this case?
No,
In support of this case?
I'm not here for that case.
Okay. Very good. Any questions for Metro before we get started? Okay, very good. Sir, if you could give us your name and your address, and then tell us about your situation.
Okay, my name is Jajal Gashu. I live in 2732 Jones Avenue, Nashville, Tennessee, 37207. And I'm here to appeal my case. First of all, I would like to tell you that I take full responsibility for all the things that went wrong. I'm not blaming anyone here but me. In short, I just dropped the ball. I am here today because I didn't get a chance to tell any one of you, nor the zoning administrator, which I was sick with COVID-19 in the middle of August. Because of that, renewing my permit was slipped from my mind just because I was focusing on my health. I thought I should tell you that so you can give me another chance. That being said, I don't receive any warning or notice prior to the expiration date. I don't know if that's required by law or not. But all I got was a warning later on my door that says I am operating the business with expired permit. Of course, I immediately submit the renewal form just to be rejected soon after. Because of the lack of clear instructions and directions to follow, I had to back in for several times to the zoning department and building to find out what I should do next. Jessica probably was here. I talked to her a couple of times. Finally, I want to let you know that I want to let you know that I have been in this business for the last 4 years. I have never been any problems with my neighbors or guests. If you give me another chance to renew my permit, it only helps me better my life and additional revenue for the city. It doesn't hurt no one. I ask the board to permit me operate this business ASAP if that's possible. Board, I assure you that this will not going to happen again. Thank you.
Alicia, okay, here we go, thank you. You read my mind. Okay, great, thank you so much, sir. Does anyone have any questions for the appellant?
I have a question.
Go.
On the board, I was wondering when, so the November stays with 3 were more than, or were less than 30 nights inherently. The December, the documented stay in December, do you know how many nights that was?
The December?
Yes.
It was 3 nights, I guess.
3 nights in December?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
You've been here all afternoon, so you have heard.
Yes,
It is a courtesy to get the notice,
I understand.
and you will not be getting notices
I
anymore
won't do it again.
in the mail.
Yes.
Right. So that won't be a conversation we're going to have again with you, right?
I understand.
All right,
I understand.
cool. And can you tell me, so your permit expired August 31st, and you were sick during that time period, you're telling us?
Yeah, actually in the middle of August.
Okay.
It's just a coincidence.
All righty. And this is a property that you manage without any help, like you don't have a
No,
property
just
manager or
run- just
anything
run
like
it
that?
myself, yes.
Okay. And then, I'm sorry, repeat for me, you said that you'd had communication with someone, but there were no clear directions on,
Right,
what are you saying there's no clear directions on? Because,
So once I got the letter, I don't know what to do. The first thing I did was just apply. They just submit the form and the money, whatever. And then probably a week or 2, I got, rejected. I got letter or email. Then I called Osborne. I think Osborne. So I talked to what should I do here? I don't know what to do. So he sent me an email, and it's, kind of like you have to change it from 3 days to 30 days.
Yeah.
And then we did that. And then then if you go ahead appeal it, just appeal it. And I came to to the office, appeal it. I appealed I sent the email and everything. And so I was waiting any instructions what to do. That David Ferbert, I talked to him a couple of times, and then not over the phone, actually on the mail. So he said just wait. Because we're backed up with a lot of emails and people, so it takes a couple of more minutes. It took probably 2 months for me to get back, but then I couldn't get any email or anything, so I come over, talk to Jessica, and then the same thing. So I came to the 3rd time, and when I talked to David, then he said, "Oh, I forgot about it. I'm so sorry, but I'll put it your docket on this the near this one right here."
understood.
Yeah.
I will say, though, the letter that you got, we've seen the letter, and it says to cease all operations and to remove your ad. Does it not? I mean, I understand that you were following up saying, oh, gosh, what can I do? But you were told in that letter, yeah, that told you were in violation, that you were to cease all operations and remove your ad, that advertising in and of itself is a violation. Yeah? That was in the letter, right?
Yeah, that was on the letter, I guess.
Okay. So there were
I just don't know.
some pretty clear instructions. You just didn't want to follow them, right?
Maybe I misunderstand them.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's why I call, I come 2-3 times.
Understood.
What exactly do I do,
Right. And you certainly had a lot of contact with a lot of folks.
Yes,
So, I mean.
yes, I did.
I see. Okay. Anyone else?
Mr. Goshu, can you tell us who Turnkey Vacation Rentals?
Yeah, they're so when I start, you know, the business, I thought it was a good idea to, because I don't know, I never did that before. So they are the management company, so I give them, I give them, but they didn't do any good, so I just took over myself.
Okay,
So they probably, managed it for the first 6 months or 7 months. It wasn't successful, so I say.
Okay, so you're no longer engaged with them?
No,
Okay.
it's been like over.
And then as a follow-up, so there's an address here of 3736 Waterford Way.
Yeah, that's I share that property with my children, children mother.
Okay,
So yeah,
and so you currently...
my children live there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If I could ask staff, this is a RS10 zoning district, and the permit type is multifamily, not owner occupied.
Has to do with the time of issuance. It was allowed at the time it was issued.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing. We're going to discuss this amongst ourselves. What do you guys think? Consistency?
Consistency.
Okay, well, then my first point to make would be setting a start date for the relief. And I'm thinking granted, there was a documented stay. Well, there was a documented stay in December, and I just want to clarify with Metro, we can't be sure, well, I was about to say we can't be sure it was actually in December. It could have been reviewed in December for a stay in November, huh? No? Although I think the appellant admitted to us there was a stay.
Not in this particular case.
Okay.
This happened to be a platform whereby the date that it was published is on there, and
Oh,
then the stay date is also published. Give me just a moment, I'll pull that up on the screen.
Yeah, we'd love the stay date in December. That would be really helpful. I would think if we can settle on what the date of the stay in December was, we can view that as the final violation and apply a 6-month, there we go. Oh, stayed New Year's. So December 31st. So December 31st would be the start date. How does that sound?
January 1,
January 1 would be the start date? Okay,
6 months.
okay. Sean, what do you think?
I don't have strong feelings about this one, so I'll just wait for the motion from y'all.
All right. I move that we grant the appellant a 6-month waiting period rather than a 12-month waiting period, beginning the date of the last violation, which was January 1st of 2022. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Can I see a show of hands? Everyone's in agreement today. Very good. Okay, you have been granted some relief. You're going to have a 6-month waiting period from the date of your last violation, which was January 1 of this year. And you can reapply. What would make that? July 1st. I keep trying to put people in June. July 1st of this year will be the first time that you're permitted to apply. Thank you so much for coming in today.
No question?
I may not be able to answer them.
That's fine, but I mean, August was 1 year from the expiry, by law, so
but-
it's one.
So you were given a 6-month waiting period. The law is a 12-month waiting period. But the date that the 6-month waiting period begins on is the date of your last violation.
Oh, I got you.
And since you had someone stay with you over New Year's, that's the date of your last violation that we know
Okay.
about.
I got you.
Okay?
Okay.
Very
Will
good.
be June,
So it'll be July 1st.
July 1st. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Phil for telling us that. Okay, very good. That's our last case, right? Okay. Let's consider today's meeting hearing closed. Oh, okay.
I was refused a permit, and I appealed the refusal. My name wasn't on the list for
Well, then, we don't have a case.
It's not Douglas Avenue, is it?
No, it's 10th Avenue. It was in the emails. I even emailed, I spoke to somebody, Jessica Shepherd, and she said it's as easy as coming in and speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry, you'll have to formally file for an appeal and
Yeah.
pay an appeal fee in order to get before this board.
Yeah, nobody told me that.
I'm sorry that wasn't made clear, but.
I emailed like 3 or 4 people.
There's an appeals process, and once you have filed an appeal, there's an affidavit or an attestation you have to make. Then your appeal will be brought to us, and that's how it happens. It's not just free-for-all, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I wish that we had known your situation at the beginning. I would have sent you on your merry way.
That would have been awesome. So how does that work now?
Can you connect with Alicia over here, and she'll help you out? Okay. And with that, I will consider today's hearing closed.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.